Looks like ufology made its way back into politics. Cue the music. Howdy y'all, this is episode number 43 of UFO Buster Radio's UFO Report. And we've got a little bit of politics, we've got a little bit of craziness down under. But before we start that, I want to make sure that everyone keeps in their hearts and minds the folks in South Texas as they deal with Hurricane Harvey. Unfortunately, the gun laws in Texas are not enough to keep Harvey away, so please don't stand on your front porch challenging Harvey to land on your property. It's not going to work. So let's continue. Okay, so the first report for today is an article that was published regarding UFOs all over Australia. And I want to say that this is the second report this month. The first one was about that one individual who was collecting UFO reports because they were putting together a bit of a database regarding the activities all over the place down there, down under. The title of this report is Bargo UFO Spotter Sights Mysterious Black Object on Camera. This Bargo resident, who goes by the name of Darrin, has captured multiple UFOs on video, and according to him, according to Darrin, it got to be too much. There was way too much to videotape down in Bargo. It got to the point where he basically had to stop filming the sightings because he was overwhelmed. What the hell is going on, Australia? Darrin said that in the Macarthur region, there is a UFO hotspot, and he recently decided to stop filming over the last 2 years because he was pretty much blown away by the sheer amount of objects that he was recording. And this is a quote from Darrin. I was seeing so many of them that it was starting to scare me a bit. Could you imagine that? Seeing so many UFOs that you just need to stop recording? You have to put the camera down for 2 years? I mean, what was running through his mind? The occasional probing, getting abducted. Well, I mean, what's going on? How can there be so many that you stop recording video of it? The quote continues, I thought to myself, I just don't want to know what is out there anymore. Isn't that wild to be actively researching this and get to the point where you see so many that you're, in a way, you don't even want to know anymore. It's almost like he's fearing for his life. Recently, he shared his footage with a person that was a resident of Bradbury, a film that he himself recorded when he was living in Bradbury, which occurred around 2 a.m. one early morning. And in the video, he recorded a big black triangular craft. He says the craft was around 100 meters high, spinning around really slowly for about 7 seconds before it disappeared towards the direction of Wollongong. So the local president of the UFO and Paranormal Research Society of Australia, Lorraine, said that Campbellton region was a regular home of UFO sightings. According to her, they get reports of sightings all the time, as the actual society itself is based out of Campbellton, so they are well aware that there is some craziness happening in that particular area of Australia. And listen, initially when UFO Buster Radio started, we were not really seeing too much out of Australia, and all of a sudden, hey, listen, the ufology bug is stinging people all over the place down there. And Australia is coming up in the ranks as far as sightings are concerned. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on because Australia is up and coming when it comes to ufology and UFO sightings. And you know what? The more that we hear from Australia, the more that we see that there is a rich history of sightings and incidents and things dealing with the Australian government. So this is not just a United States problem. It is not just the United Kingdom. Australia is there. Canada is there. Germany, recently we had a story from Germany. It's everywhere. Why is it so hard to get a pulse on what is going on and get some real answers? I mean, there were even stories a few weeks ago from the Middle East saying that the Taliban or ISIS, or one of them was reporting UFOs and saying that the U.S. government was tied up with them in some way. Shake my head. What the hell is that about?
Hey, this is Jerome, and from planet Earth, you're listening to the UFO Buster radio show right here.
Okay, before we move into the next story, I do have to say that the UFO reports, because it's back to school, a lot of you don't have the time to keep up with the episodes the way they are right now. We are going to go to the UFO news reports to only be Tuesday and Thursdays, twice during the weekdays. And we're still going to keep the episodes on Sunday open for interviews. I do have like about 3 that I have lined up. I just got to figure out when they're going to be to get that together. And then, of course, we're going to have the occasional visit by the one and only Big O. And before we get into the next topic, I just want to say a quick shout out to Chris. Chris has been in the UBR Truth Seekers group page, and he has not even been taking names. He's in there, very active, kicking butt, making sure that the rubber dickers are aware that Chris is on the job and he's from across the pond. So Chris, keep up the good work, keep the rubber dickers at bay, and challenge the norm. Well, I guess it's not really the norm. Challenge the not-so-norm of ufology. So this next story is about a rubber dicker in the U.S. of a different kind. He is our president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Well, okay, it's not about him or him incessively calling out the name China.
China's over here. Look at what China's doing. They're learning from China. China, okay?
What it is about is one of his nominees. So as you know, leading up to this election that he eventually won, there was a lot of talk about John Podesta convincing Hillary Clinton to release UFO files and to really go balls to the wall when it comes to ufology as part of her, her campaign and as part of her presidential activities, which of course never happened. And honestly, we don't even know what the hell happened to John Podesta because he also fell off the face of the earth when it comes to ufology. I saw some quotes of him recently whining and complaining about losing because of the Russians. So the article that I have is from, it's actually in a couple of different publications, but the title is Trump's nominee for chief scientist of the USDA once claimed a UFO charged him at 5,000 miles per hour. The nominee for that position as the head of the USDA is no one other than Sam Clovis Jr. Now, let me just give you some background on Samuel Clovis Jr. because this article itself kind of misses out on that because it makes it, and this might be why Trump says that people are rubber dicking him all the time and they're always giving fake news. In this case, they're kind of giving part of the news. Now, I don't think that this guy's history qualifies him as someone that should be running the USDA. And there's a lot of people in government right now that are screaming bloody murder and think that Trump should pretty much, repeal his little nomination. But the guy is no crackpot. So Clovis was born in Salina, Kansas, and he grew up in Medora, Kansas. Now, he does have a military career. He was actually appointed to the U.S. Military Academy out of high school and the U.S. Air Force Academy. When he finished there, he joined the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. And those that are familiar with Colorado Springs, that is also the area where you can find NORAD. So while he was in Colorado Springs, he earned a bachelor's degree in political science. He then served the Air Force for 25 years from 71 to 1996 as a fighter pilot and an instructor. During that time, he also served at the Pentagon. He served in the Middle East and as the commander for the 70th Fighter Squadron. He eventually made it to colonel and retired as the Inspector General of the North American Aerospace Defense Command and the United States Command. So this is no slouch. This is not an idiot. This is not someone that Trump picked up at a local pizza shop and say, hey, you want to join the USDA? Oh, that's not who he is. But all of that history really doesn't fit when you need someone to run the USDA. So that's really where we're at with Clovis. The thing about Clovis, which is now coming to light, and I guarantee you, this whole weekend, they're going to blow this up beyond proportion. Besides the fact that he's not necessarily a scientist, which is what people say the individual that runs the USDA should be, Clovis is also a radio host. And at one point, apparently, he disclosed that while he was in the military, he came across a UFO radar sighting. Now, he was on a show hosted by an individual named Simon, and it's called the Who Radio. And at that point, I guess he was asked if he had ever seen a UFO. Apparently, Clovis started to say yes, but then he said that he didn't actually see it, but he knew there was one there. The reason why he knew there was one there was because his radar locked onto it. And according to the radar, the UFO was traveling toward him at 5,000 miles per hour. And he then admitted that at that time, when this occurred, which the article does not include, there was nothing in the technology or anything known at that time that could travel at 5,000 miles an hour. Apparently, the thing came to a complete stop from 5,000 miles an hour and then hit reverse and reversed at 5,000 miles an hour. He said he eventually took that radar report and handed it off to officials. Now here's the thing. He recently came out and said that that was just a joke. He was kidding. He was, he was screwing around with old Simon with his story. But a spokesman for Clovis actually noted that his boss is a veteran fighter pilot who has served his country with distinction. And he saw an unidentified object that was outside of the norm and reported it appropriately to the individuals he was required to. So what the hell is it? What is it? Did you see one? Did you not? Are you lying? Are you joking? Is your spokesman a crackhead? What is it? Is he on Flocka? Is he high as shit? Which story is it, Clovis? Did you or did you not see a damn UFO on your flipping radar? If you can't even get this damn story straight, Trumpy, you need to pull him out. Just pull him out because they're going to tear him a new asshole if he goes in front of Congress. Just forget about it. Buy him a ticket back home because his goose is cooked. Well, listen, if you like what you're hearing, don't forget to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all over the damn place. But if you really enjoy it, share it, like it, subscribe, get the word out. Because we can only get better if more people listen and more people interact. And don't forget, UBR Truth Seekers Facebook group is there so that you, the listener, can interact not only with the people that you hear on the podcast, but with each other as well. And yours truly, the Moonraker. With that said, sayonara. Have a good weekend. Ciao, Bella.